Episode 2 of LoreFi has just been released and there is so much to unpack here, it might take a while to get this video out, so apologies if that's the case. Firstly, we see what happens on Taylor's computer and what the hacker is actually there for, and is it justified? We've also been seeing a few more releases of songs, and with the help of you guys, we've started to build a timeline. More on that later, let's break this episode down bit by bit. But before we do that, please do subscribe, it's free and you can always unsubscribe later. Subscribing is the best way to support my channel as it allows me to make more videos and lets you guys know every time I post. So, if you could just check to see that you are, that would be great. Thank you, and back to the video. The episode starts with Taylor shutting down her computer for the night, only after she walks away, it comes back on and starts going through her messages. Not only that, it starts downloading them, her logins, her photos, her library, compressing them all down into a zip file for download, and after covering its tracks, it shuts down for the night, leaving no evidence that it was ever there. Now I would say that it definitely did something, and while I would say it shows us what happens after the computer is infected, we don't really have a lot to go off of. But there are a couple of other clues that do spark some interest. One of my first observations was the name of the episode being Infected. This is in reference to the fact that the computer has been infected with a virus, but with my previous theory about how I believed that Taylor was sick due to various hints in her room, it could be a double entendre, having a separate meaning entirely that could also work in this context, and could potentially play a part in the overall storyline. The computer itself also reveals certain things about Taylor's life, like the fact she entered into a competition and got second place under a pseudonym, as the name isn't one we recognise her by, but we definitely know it's her, which could allude to the idea that her herself is hiding something, as well as an outright confirmation of the year she was born, considering it was part of her login, as well as a few other codes and Easter eggs to reveal more about her within her given emails. Everything on there seemed very personal towards her. However, you might notice that this also reveals something about the hacker. For the most part, when we see what happens on screen when the hacker takes over, such as when the cursor moves across the page, I would argue it seems very human-like. If you don't know, when websites have you complete an I am not a robot test, they're less tracking what you do, but rather how you do it. Ergo, the movement of the cursor, whether you dwell on different pages for too long, reading the question, or if your mouse starts randomly moving across the screen rather than from point A to point B. And while what happens on screen seems robotic at times, there are some movements where they do dwell on pages to read personal emails that wouldn't impact the information that they were trying to derive from it. Think of it this way, if you were to make a bot that was meant to take only a specific set of information from a piece of code, it wouldn't be reading through all of the bits of code because that would be unnecessary. There would be no reason for it to do that, especially considering that wouldn't be what the task is at all. Therefore, we can assume that there is someone on the other side controlling it rather than just a code within the computer. Or, better yet, there could be someone inside the computer controlling it. Much like the theory about Gregory being the duck that we had a while ago, who might have their own personal motives to go through these messages. Which makes me ask the question, is the hacker in any way related to Taylor? It is very possible given the interest in Taylor's personal life, and once again the conversation with her father sticks out the most. The rest is casual conversations with her friends or talk about how she got second place in the art competition for Remnant, but the conversation with her dad is more vague, titled I Know What You Did. Her dad's response reads as follows: Taylor, I understand you're mad. You say you don't want me around, but please, there's a lot more to this than what you think. I know your mother is upset, but that doesn't mean she's completely innocent. There are reasons things ended up like they did. Can we please just talk? I don't like this whole emailing back and forth. I don't feel like I can say what I need to say through this. Just give me a chance. Your father. Judging by the title, this is a response to something Taylor sent herself, showing that she doesn't have the best view of her father right now. And judging by the context clues given, this is taking place after her dad cheated on her mum, she found out, and now he doesn't live with them. At least, this is from Taylor's perspective. Granted, we are listening to this from Taylor's story. Her dad makes it clear that there's a lot more to it than what she thinks, and that there were reasons things ended up the way they did. Vague, to say the least, but considering how he's pushing to move the conversation offline shows that 1, it's personal, and 2, he might be afraid of who else could be watching. Going back to the hacker, he doesn't seem to do much other than collecting information, and also covering the tracks by the end, keeping themselves hidden from Taylor. But there's something I find more interesting when we open the description, and this is where we see the hacker's motive. The description shows that this could be driven by some sort of skewered moral code, biblically driven even. You see, I was talking to some members of the game theorist fan community over on their Discord, and we were discussing why Leviticus was mentioned in the description within the tags. It was obvious we had to turn to biblical quotes at this point, but the question was which one. But through the help of codes and deciphering, it seemed like the most obvious choice was Leviticus 19:11. You shall not steal, you shall not deal falsely, and you shall not lie to one another. And you shall not swear falsely by my name, profaning the name of your God. I am the Lord. Funny, after what we've been seeing with Taylor's parents, I thought the line was going to be, thou shalt not commit adultery. However, this line does reveal motivation. As far as we know, Taylor gained the virus through illegally downloading songs. The duck-shaped hacker is acting from a point of justice. A holier-than-thou view, targeting people who have been illegally downloading songs to be victims. But once again, this could be where it gets a bit dark, as we still don't know what happens to Gregory. We know he gets kidnapped, but could someone be so justified in their attempt to stop people from illegally downloading music they would lead them to kidnap a 12-year-old? Honestly, I don't buy it. After matching a few dates and years, we've also concluded that this is set around 2005. And if we're right about the year Taylor was born, she wouldn't be much older at 16. Meaning the hacker behind this must have a very skewed idea of what justice is after targeting minors for illegally downloading music, or there might be something much more going on here other than teenagers not paying to listen to music. And I do believe that this relates back to Taylor's parents, because I still don't think we're getting the full story here in an attempt to stop Taylor from finding out the truth, which means I think that we can put them both down as suspects for what is happening in LoreFi. Plus, some of the evidence could be used to further our point that Gregory is the one trying to reach out to Taylor via the duck. And during this time, the LoreFi playlist is gaining a few more songs, which likely play in order considering one of our last decoded messages was "The journey starts on the streets of Chill." So right now we have a motive, some suspects, and a lead. But something we do really need to understand is what is going to happen to Taylor, and how do we figure this out before it's too late? But what do you guys think? Are we onto something here? Let me know in the comments if you've got any theories of your own, and I would like to thank you guys so much for watching. These videos are fun for me to make, so it's great to know that you guys enjoy them as well. Thank you to my members. Once again, your support for this channel is why I can continue to make videos, and I appreciate it so much. But if you can't become a member, that's okay. I'm so thankful for everyone who's subscribed regardless. Thank you, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!